They sense it before you say a word. Something in your silence has shifted, and they feel the door quietly closing on them. You stopped chasing, stopped explaining, stopped pretending the friendship still felt mutual or alive. And the moment your energy settled into peace, their name lit up your phone again. That is not coincidence, and it is not love returning to you late. That is a tracking system, finely tuned to the exact moment your attention leaves them. You feel it in your chest before your mind admits it. A strange unease sits next to the message, asking why now? Why suddenly? Why today? Because deep down, you already know they did not miss you at all. They missed the access, the audience, the convenience of having you on standby. By the end of this, you will read their reappearance like a map. You will see the timing, the wording, the bait, and the quiet hook underneath it. And you will learn how to respond without losing the peace you just built. Certain friends only return the second they sense you no longer need them. Their absence was never about distance, it was about how disposable you felt to them. While you were struggling, they were quiet, busy, unreachable, suddenly hard to find. The moment your life steadied, their memory of you mysteriously sharpened overnight. That is not friendship waking up. That is leverage noticing it is slipping. They are not reaching for you. They are reaching for the version of you they controlled. Notice how the message always arrives wrapped in something soft and innocent. A random memory, an old photo, a casual question, a gentle, harmless little check-in. It feels warm on the surface, but underneath, it is testing whether the door still opens. They are not asking how you are. They are asking if you are still reachable. If you respond too warmly, they relax because the old access seems intact again. If you stay neutral, they push harder because the silence threatens their position. Watch the timing more than the words they choose to use. They never appear when you are crying, lost, broke, or quietly falling apart inside. They appear when you look calm, glowing, distant, unbothered, finally moving forward alone. Your peace is the signal. Your independence is the alarm bell in their world. Because as long as you needed them, they felt important without ever showing up. The moment you stop needing them, their imagined importance starts to disappear. So they return, not to rebuild, but to remind you they still exist nearby. A small message, a like, a comment, a story reaction, a tiny pull on the rope. It is not affection, it is maintenance, checking that the leash is still attached. There is a specific kind of grief in realizing this for the first time. You wanted to believe the timing was magic, that they finally understood your worth. Instead, you see the pattern, and something inside you quietly grows up overnight. That sadness is not weakness, it is your old hope finally setting itself down. You are not bitter, you are simply done mistaking convenience for genuine connection. Their reappearance reveals what their absence already told you, only louder this time. When you were drowning, they were busy. When you were thriving, they were curious. That sequence is the entire truth of where you stood in their actual priorities. Real friends show up in the quiet seasons, not just the visible ones. People who only appear at your peaks are spectators, not companions on your road. You do not owe a seat at your new table to anyone who skips your hardest year. Pay attention to how the conversation steers within the first few honest exchanges. They will gently fish for what changed, what you have, who you have become. The new job, the new partner, the new mindset, the new distance from old pain. They want details not because they care, but because information is their oldest currency. Whatever they collect can be used later as comparison, as gossip, or as quiet sabotage. Give them less than they expect, and watch how quickly the warmth begins to cool. A returning friend who truly missed you does not need to audit your life. They are happy you are well, and the conversation feels light, equal, easy, unforced. A friend returning for access leaves you tired, exposed, slightly anxious, somehow smaller again. Trust that body response. It is older and wiser than your politeness toward them. Your nervous system remembers every small wound your mind has tried to explain away. If their name on your screen brings tension, that tension is information, not overreaction. Here is something worth pausing on before we go any further into this together. Think of one person who recently reappeared the moment your life began to shift. Notice how their timing lined up with your growth, not with your hardest moments. In the comments, share what they said and how it landed in your body honestly. Your story might be the exact mirror another reader needed to finally see clearly. Sometimes hearing it from a stranger makes the truth easier to accept inside. Now back to the pattern, because the next layer is where most people get stuck. Once you see the timing, the next test is how you choose to respond. This is where old loyalty fights new awareness, and the battle happens quietly inside. Part of you wants to believe them, to give the friendship one more honest chance. Another part already knows that one more chance is exactly how the cycle restarts. The strongest move here is not anger, not a speech, not a long confrontation. The strongest move is calm, measured distance that does not perform itself loudly. You do not need to expose them, lecture them, or explain your evolution in detail. You simply stop offering the access they came to quietly reclaim from your life. A short reply, a slow response time, a polite tone with no real opening underneath. Try lines like, "I'm doing well, thanks for checking," and leave the door barely cracked. Or simply, appreciate the message, with no follow-up question pulling them back inside. If push, "I've been focusing on myself lately," closes the topic without sounding cold. These are not weapons of cruelty. They are quiet fences disguised as ordinary sentences. You are allowed to be kind without being available, warm without being wide open. Notice what they do when the access does not return on their preferred timeline. Some will vanish again instantly, proving the entire reappearance was about utility, not affection. Some will escalate, becoming sweeter, more nostalgic, suddenly remembering every good memory you shared. Some will tilt into guilt, hinting that you have changed, become distant, become harder. That guilt is not feedback, it is pressure, designed to make you apologize for healing. You did not become cold, you became calibrated, and they are mourning the loss of easy entry. Healthy people can handle a slower response without rewriting your character behind your back. Toxic people treat your unavailability as betrayal, because your time was never truly yours to them. That single difference will tell you everything about who deserves your renewed energy. Watch for the rewrite, where suddenly the past becomes softer, kinder, more shared than it was. They will reference inside jokes, old loyalties, shared history, as if no harm ever happened. This is not memory, this is strategy, painting a friendship that conveniently forgets your wounds. You are allowed to remember accurately, even when they prefer a more flattering version. Your clarity is not bitterness. It is simply refusing to gaslight yourself for their comfort. There is also the friend who returns disguised as personal growth and self-awareness. They mention therapy, healing, changes they have made, lessons they finally seem to understand. It sounds promising, and a part of you wants so badly to believe in real change. Sometimes it is real, but real change does not arrive only when it needs something. Genuine growth shows itself slowly, in consistency, in small actions, in space respected without protest. If their growth conveniently appears the moment they want back in, treat it as a hypothesis, not proof. Let time test their words, because time is the one tool manipulation cannot easily fake. Distance is sometimes more powerful than confrontation, and silence often teaches what speeches never could. You do not have to slam any doors to keep your peace intact and quiet. You simply stop holding them open with explanations, second chances, and unreturned emotional labor. Not every old friend who returns is dangerous, and not every reappearance is manipulation. But the ones who only arrive at your peaks are revealing the shape of their loyalty. Believe that shape, even when nostalgia tries to soften the edges in your memory. Your job is not to punish them. Your job is to protect the life you just built. You spent too long becoming this version of yourself to hand the keys back casually. Their reappearance is not a sign you owe them anything, it is a test of your growth. The test is simple. Can you stay kind without becoming available, clear without becoming cruel? Every time you pass that test, your nervous system learns that your peace is finally safe. And slowly the people who only love your usefulness stop recognizing you as the same target. You become harder to read, harder to access, harder to manipulate through old emotional doorways. That is not coldness, that is sovereignty, quietly built one boundary at a time. If this hits something real, leave a like so it reaches someone still confused by the timing. They might be staring at a message right now, wondering why this person came back today. Your like could be the small nudge that helps them finally see the pattern clearly. Subscribe to the Boundary Effect and turn on the bell before you scroll away. Every week we decode the patterns most people spend years confused and quietly wounded by. You will start recognizing tactics in real time, instead of months after the damage is done. In the comments, tell me which part landed the hardest as you were listening. Was it the timing, The soft message, the phishing, the rewrite, or the fake growth? Your answer helps me understand which wounds are loudest in this community right now. Next, we go deeper into the friends who never left but quietly competed with you. That video builds directly on this one and exposes a slower, more hidden betrayal. You will see why some of your closest people felt heavy long before they showed it. For now, hold this truth close as you move through the rest of your day. They did not return because they finally see you. They return because they finally lost you.